Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
All my Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important
You
it is?
have
Try to
any
stay the
idea?
pump up. Really? This
You
is
have
what
any
you're
idea?
doing?
Dude, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair.
YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac Magee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on YouTube.com/@Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac Magee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. If you are a sports gambler in the state of Florida, we've got a game changer, baby. Let's go. He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man with a cool one in his head. Saturday's action, and there's some damn good games. This is one of the better slates that I can remember. And it all gets going. Obviously, the big one, the one that everybody is all about, is Michigan versus Penn State. Everybody is really in on this one. You've also got Kentucky and Alabama. So you got Kentucky getting 11 points, Michigan State Kentucky's getting 11 points at home against Alabama. Michigan is giving up 4.5 at Penn State. The over-under in the Michigan game is 45. Alabama's over-under is 47. Whenever I see an over-under of 47 and the road team is giving up 11 points, I feel like you're really trying to thread the needle there. I really do. I really feel like that there's not much of a chance that this game is that low scoring. I also believe that Kentucky can hang with Alabama. It is in Lexington. And so I'm going to give you a second teaser with the Kentucky Wildcats taking it to a plus 17. Love taking it to one of those critical numbers. And then you also get Kentucky, Alabama over under 41 is what it'll take to on a tease. So I'm going to take the over to 41, and that's going to be my second tease of the weekend. I don't believe that Kentucky's going to win this game, but I do believe they can stay within 17 points. I also believe that this game is going to be closer scoring towards the 50s and not into the low 40s, so I really like my odds there. The other big game is Michigan versus Penn State. I am going to take the Wolverines. The number is now moved down to -4. I'm going to take Michigan -4. I'm just going off of eye test more than anything else in this one. Penn State looked terrible. Their offense could not move against Ohio State. I understand that Ohio State has one of the better defenses in the country, but the fact remains they've looked terrible whenever they've been challenged. Michigan has looked phenomenal. We all know Michigan's been cheating too. So there's a part of me that's a little gun shy about this because I'm like, I don't know, man. You go out there and you take a team that has been cheating, and now they want to prove that they can do it without cheating, and then you take the cheating element out of it. Next thing you know, the trash cans aren't banging, and all of a sudden the offense isn't moving. But I believe Michigan's going to win this game. I don't believe they're going to go in and blow out Penn State. It is in Happy Valley. That gives Penn State a leg up there. But this will be the first big game that Michigan plays on the road since all this began. Hostile environment. What are the fans going to be saying to these kids? What are the signs going to be reading? All that stuff. I believe Michigan's going to go in there and be motivated and win this game. And I do believe it'll be about like the Penn State game where you never feel like Michigan is in danger of losing the game, but I'm not necessarily expecting a blowout either. I see this game. I'm really, really hesitant to touch the over-under. So I see this game, Michigan winning this game somewhere in the neighborhood of 20-10. Maybe we get a tad higher scoring. Maybe it's 24-14. But I don't see a ton of points, and I do believe that the better team is going to win, and the better team is Michigan. All right, the next game on the slate. So I'm doing this chronologically, so we're going over the noon kickoffs, and then we'll go from there. You do have some interesting lines here. You've got Georgia Tech getting 2 touchdowns at Clemson. I'm staying away from that. Clemson is difficult to beat at home. They're a much better team at home, and I don't believe that Georgia Tech's going to be able to beat them in Clemson, but 2 touchdowns is a lot, and Georgia Tech's a lot better than they have been in previous years. So moving on from that game, you got Maryland at Nebraska, and Maryland's a 2.5-point favorite over under 43.5. Steering clear of that game. Kansas is a 3-point favorite home against Texas Tech. Rock, chalk, Jayhawk, give me Kansas -3. I really like their chances to win that game. And I don't believe Texas Tech is as good as advertised. Moving on down the slate. By the way, Boston College is a 1.5-point dog at home against Virginia Tech. That should be a pretty darn good ball game. Boston College's limitations in the passing game has me a little gun shy. Watching these two teams, I will tell you this. Boston College, the few times that I've caught them, seem to have more of a fight, especially on the defensive side. Virginia Tech, though, should be able to move the ball. The over-under is 50. I honestly feel like that's about where it belongs. But we're going to move on from that game. By the way, Arizona is a 10-point favorite at Colorado. It's a very popular pick. A lot of folks are taking the Wildcats because the Wildcats have looked pretty darn good. 10 points on the road, you don't love that. But at the same token, Colorado's a disaster. It's also an early kickoff at noon. The over-under is 55. Let's go down to the later games, numbers that I am interested in. And 3:30 kickoffs. Let's start off with Florida State and Miami. Florida State right now is a 14-point favorite. Florida State's total points is 31.5. I think Florida State will put points on the board on Miami. It looks like that they're going to get, as of right now, it appears that they're going to get a couple of their big receivers, Wilson and Coleman, back. And if that's the case, they should be able to stretch the field. Now, Miami's pretty good at stopping the run, but you can exploit their secondary, and Florida State should be able to put the points up. I also believe Miami's going to have a hard time moving the ball. Tyler Van Dyke remains to be seen if he'll be the starter or not. But it doesn't matter if it's Tyler Van Dyke or if they go to the kid on the road in a hostile environment for the first time. Anyway, you look at it, they're probably going to have a hard time moving the ball, and so that could create short fields for Florida State. I think Florida State's going to win this game somewhere in the neighborhood. Depends on if they call the dogs off, but I think they're going to get somewhere around 42 points, win this game around 42-17, 42-24, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I like the Florida State over big time, 31.5. Next game on the slate, this is another 3:30 kickoff, and some pretty interesting games on that 3:30 kickoff. One of them is a little surprising line to me, and for anybody that follows the show, follows our picks, you know that we've got the rule: you don't take the money line unless it's minus 150 or lower. We will not take one that's minus 175, et cetera, et cetera. Here's an interesting line to me. The game that's going to be taking place at 3:30 as well, and you got a team who's coming off a big win against their arch rivals in Oklahoma State. They are a 2.5 point favorite at Central Florida. It's a minus 135. It's a very tempting game to grab. There's another game, Pittsburgh, minus 150 on the road at Syracuse. And Syracuse, to me, they continue to be a bit of a disaster. But if you go deeper into the numbers on the Pittsburgh game, and I am tempted to take Pittsburgh on the money line, but that's not where we're going. The total points for the Pittsburgh Panthers in this game is 19.5. 19.5. They put 17 up on Florida State and probably should have had more if the kid hadn't fumbled the ball into the end zone. I like Pittsburgh plus 19.5, and that is my 6th lock in the world of college football. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to give you the second half of the 6-pack. Got more college football. We're going to hit some NFL slates. We will be back. Keep it locked in here on 99.1 FM, WQEE, Noonan, Georgia. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, please like and subscribe. We'll be back in a jiff.
Well, the season's finally here.
The Armchair Quarterbacks are back. Saturdays, 10 a.m., you'll be tailgating with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Mac Magee, Joey and Tones, and the rest of the Armchair Quarterbacks live, 10 a.m., Saturdays this fall. Talking college football, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, the NFL, fantasy football advice, and our picks against the spread. Right here on Braves Country HD, 99.1 FM, WQEE.
Yeah, the Armchair Quarterback.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99, WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
The play was aptly called The Holy Roller, another chapter in Raider folklore. They were the unquestioned kings of the improbable, impossible victory. Fantastic finishes and storybook endings lent almost a mythic quality to the team.
Oakland trails 20-14. 10 seconds left.
The crowd takes up a chant of defense. Robisky and Banaszak on the back. Slot right. Branch inside. Bradshaw, Stabler back. Here comes the rush. He sidesteps. Can he throw? He can't. The ball flipped forward is loose. A wild scramble. 2 seconds on the clock. Castro grabbing the ball. It is thrown a fumble. Castro is recovered in the end zone. The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most seamless, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. It's not real. 52,000 people minus a few lonely Raider fans are stunned. A man would be a fool who ever tried and write a drama and make you believe it. This one will be relived forever.
Armchair.
Why, any fool could see he made that first down when he dived. If Howard Cosell came in now, he'd never get out alive. Cause he's the armchair.
Welcome back.
He's full of beer and he's full of snacks.
We are rolling here on a football Thursday, not football Friday. If you're just joining in, we are doing our Salute to Service show tomorrow on Friday. So we're doing the football picks here on a Thursday. First part of the 12-pack, here's your 6-pack of picks so far. Thursday Night Football, we're going to take the Bears +3 and Virginia +26.5 on a teaser. Kentucky +17, the over at 41. So 2 teasers to get you started. Then these are straight-up bets. Michigan -4. The Kansas Jayhawks -3. The Florida State over is 31.5. And Pittsburgh Panthers, their over is 19.5. So there you have that, the first of the 6-pack. And time to get back into some more football picks. I'm going to give you another teaser here. The first part of the teaser is Missouri at home is getting 2 points against Tennessee. And I know a lot of folks are jumping up and down about Tennessee and how they're doing, how they're looking good. And I'm not even going to argue the fact that Tennessee could go in there to Missouri and get the win. I just don't love it. And the one thing that Tennessee does defensively is they stop the run, but they give it the pass. So Brady Cook could be a big factor in this game. Huge factor in this game. And I think they can keep it close enough. So it's going to be a first part of a teaser for me. You've got the Missouri spread at +2. Another 3:30 game that's got my eye is the Minnesota-Purdue game. Game is in Purdue, Indiana. These are 2 offenses that haven't looked that great. The over is 46.5. So I'm going to take Missouri, going to take them through 2, as they call them, critical lines on a teaser to take them to a +8. And I'm going to take Minnesota-Purdue to stay under 52.5 on the teaser. And there's my 7th pick of the slate. Going down a little further on the slate in the world of college football, and you got some pretty good night games. Look, if I find out that Jaden Daniels isn't going to play, I'm all over taking Florida in the points. But right now, the line is 14. So I'm going to steer clear of this because we're doing this on a Thursday. I might have the pick for you on our Saturday kickoff show, but right now I'm steering clear of this one. Florida +14. Now, obviously, if Daniels doesn't play, it's going to drop it down. I still think they're going to be somewhere around a 10-point favorite. And at that point, I would still take Florida. Daniels makes that offense go. You got a couple other night games of interest. Mississippi, Ole Miss, they are getting 11 points. The over-under in this game is 58. You flash forward to a couple other teams. North Carolina, by the way, giving up 14.5 against Duke seems a bit high. I know Duke hasn't played well since the injury to Riley Leonard, but look, it still seems high. 14.5. I wouldn't touch that one. And if you are wanting a lean on the late game, that night game, USC getting 14.5 against Oregon, I don't believe that's going to be big enough. Oregon should throttle Southern Cal. But heading back towards the slates of the early goings, by the way, I still cannot get over the fact that ABC picked Texas and TCU as their night game. Their night game. Texas and TCU. Who in the hell is watching Texas and TCU at 7:30 other than Texas and TCU alumni when you've got all these other great games being played? Texas is only a 10-point favorite in that game, by the way, and it's tempting to take that game, but that rivalry has shown to give you some closer games. But I'm looking square into the fact that Ole Miss and Georgia, Florida and LSU, they're all playing at that same time period. Who in the hell is watching that? Anyways, if they were going to have any prayer of having anybody watching ABC east of the Mississippi, they would have had to put Florida State and Miami there. I know Miami lost a game last week that it really makes them look less desirable. They're still 6-3 on the year. It's still one of the better rivalries in college football. And Florida State's ranked number 4 in the country. If they start struggling against Miami, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on that game. Meanwhile, you got Texas, who's number 7. They could win out and not make the playoffs. And they're playing a 4-5 TCU team. So it really is dumbfounding. It's a shame for the college football fan that that's what we get for the night game on ABC. I guess it makes it easier for me to decide what I'm going to put on, because there's no chance in hell I'm going to have it Texas and TCU on one of my screens. Even if that game gets close late, I'll find out about it. I'll flip over them, but I'm not watching the game. You do have Michigan State at Ohio State. My God, is that going to be an absolute just debacle. 31.5-point favorite. But back to the games at hand. You got Ole Miss and Georgia plus 11, 7 o'clock kickoff. And the over-under is 58. This seems like one of these games that Georgia's due for a bit of a letdown. I don't know if this is where it's going to be. It is a home game. I do think that they still go in motivated because they are ranked number 2, not number 1. So I'm sure that narrative is going throughout their locker rooms. Kirby Smart does a really good job of playing off the emotions of the kids there. But at the same token, Ole Miss, Jackson Dart, one thing that Georgia has struggled with is scrambling quarterbacks. The other thing, do you realize Ole Miss is one of the top teams in the country of what they call explosive plays, 20 yards or more? They have 65 of them. 65 off explosive plays. So that's where I go to my last lean on this. I believe that over is incredibly gettable on the 58. And I would do it on a tease, but I think I'm just going to keep that one straight up. Ole Miss, Georgia, over 58.5 points. Over 58, I'm sorry. Over 58. And just looking at this, I expect Ole Miss to put up in the mid-20s. And if Georgia's going to win this game and come close to covering, I expect them to put up in the mid-30s. So I'm seeing a game somewhere in the neighborhood of 38-27, and that easily gets us over the hump. So give me the over, and that's it for the college football. Let's go into the NFL. I do like to save at least 4 picks. Sometimes I do 5 or more, but it's usually around 4 with the NFL. Now, you got a lot of games on Sunday that have a lot of intrigue. That's not always where you go when you're trying to make your money. And no other obvious choice than this. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Green Bay Packers. It's going to be in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is sitting in -3. I'm going to take the Steelers to cover that spread. I don't think Jordan Love is going to be able to move the ball in the Steelers. I think the Steelers will get enough done offensively to win this game. It'll be a boring, not quite a slugfest, but just kind of a, all right, they got the win. Let's go on. Let's move on. I'm feeling something like a 26-12 type of game. They're probably going to chuck the ball around enough to silence their diva receivers. But all in all, Mike Tomlin's about that W, and I do believe he's going to get that win at home against a Packers team that I still can't believe in. The other game of, I won't even call this a game of interest, but it's a game of interest if you're in the betting world. You got a couple of games here that I think are prime for a good NFL tease. One of them is your Monday Night Football game, the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is a 7-point favorite at home against Denver. So if we tease that and take it down to the 1 point, basically all you're saying is Buffalo needs to win at home against the Denver Broncos. I mean, come on, let's get that. Let's go ahead and knock that out. The other one that I really like in that same neighborhood is the Cincinnati Bengals -6.5 against the Houston Texans. And so basically you're just taking it down to a -0.5. So essentially what you have is you have the Bengals and you have the Bills just needing to get a W on the tees. So that's going to be the 10th pick of this 12-pack. And don't get me wrong, I was thoroughly impressed by C.J. Stroud and have been all year, to be honest with you. But that's not a good defense they were going up against. And I don't think he's going to find it that easy to move the ball up and down the field. Now, one thing that is interesting in this game, the over-under is 47, and that seems extremely low. So if you wanted to double dip and you wanted to go ahead and grab the Bengals and you say, I don't want to wait till Monday night, I don't hate the idea of getting the over in this game too. The Bengals to win in the over. You're talking about then just taking it to 41 points on the over and the Bengals just need to win. That's extremely gettable. And there are a lot of folks they prefer to make their picks where they don't have to wait out a teaser for 2 days. And I get that part of it. But that's not where I'm going today. I'm going to take the Bengals and the Bills. Another game of high interest, Browns and Ravens. It's a 6.5 point favorite is Baltimore, and the over-under is 38. If I was going to take that line one way or the other, it would probably be grab Cleveland, because I do believe Baltimore's going to have a hard time moving the ball. I also think it's going to be a slugfest. So one of my favorite plays would be to grab Cleveland and the under. And you'd be taking it to about the 44 points. I'd probably wait a little bit to see if that line goes up, maybe a point or so I could get it under the 45. But right now, that's where it sits. So I'm going to stay clear of that game, but it is on my radar heading into the weekend. Not going to lie. That is a game that I have a lot of interest in, but I'm waiting to see where that line moves. If the line were to move down, and I don't see it moving down, I think it's going to go up by a point or so. If it were to get around 37, 36, then you're talking about maybe grabbing the over, because then you would just have to clear about 30. But I don't think either one of these teams is going to move the ball with ease on the other. By the way, that game that's out in Frankfurt, Germany, Colts, Patriots, I have zero interest in this game. I'm not even going to turn it on. I don't even think I have a fantasy football player in either one of these teams. I shouldn't. The Colts are minus 1.5, and the over-under is 42.5, just so you know the numbers. But I could not be more uninspired to watch the game. That over-under 42.5 is interesting because the Colts, we talked about this on the Armchair Quarterback Show last week. The Colts are the only team in football that continue to score over 20 points. Well, they've got their total point number at 21.5, so it's right there. So I don't really see a number that jumps out at me that says, okay, let's grab this. And I think the Colts will score some points. I think the Patriots will muck it up. I would expect the Colts to win this game, but I don't have a lot of faith in it, especially because it's being played in Germany at 9:30 in the morning. All right, back to other games so I can get you my last two picks on this 12-pack. So you've got some pretty interesting games that are going to be taking place this weekend. One of the ones I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of money riding on this one way or the other. The 49ers are giving up 3 points to Jacksonville. Now, typically, I play the West Coast, East Coast thing. West Coast team going east against a good Jacksonville Jaguar team. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. But the 49ers are coming off a bye. But I don't like that lean either because the Jaguars are coming off a bye. So I don't believe that the time difference is going to play much into this. It's really going to come down to who can move the ball. I play much into San Francisco is going to get this win. I mean, you're on a 3-game losing streak. You're the 49ers. You've got to find a way to turn it around. But I also believe this is going to be a very close scoring game, so I'm staying away from this number. If I was going to grab anything, I do believe the scoring is going to be much higher than 45, but I don't like it enough to make it a lock. Now, a game that I do like, I'm going to go ahead and make this one of my locks as well. You got a couple of games of interest in the later windows. We'll get to one of those here in a second. But as far as the earlier games, this is a number I think we can grab. I think this is one that we can really take advantage of. So if you look at the Falcons game, and they're at the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals and the Atlanta Falcons, the over-under is 43. 43.5. Arizona is their point total is minus 20, or is 20.5 over-under. Falcons over under 21.5. You look at some of the total points that you could grab in this game. Once again, the over under is 43.5. I haven't been impressed with Atlanta's offense. I do believe there's going to be a lot of rust coming out of the offense of the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm going to take the under in the Atlanta Falcons versus Arizona Cardinals. Now, if there's a game that you want to tease it with, I really like that as well, but I don't want to give you all teasers. So I'm going to take the under in the Arizona-Atlanta game. And the last one on the board, we're going to go to, I've been bouncing back and forth on this one because there's two games that I like, but I'm only going to talk about one. You got the Sunday night game, and you got the Raiders hosting the Jets. And one of the things that I do believe that the Jets are going to be able to do the Raiders is wreak havoc and keep it a low-scoring game, a really low-scoring game. By the way, the team totals, 17.5 on both sides. Both teams, 17.5. So it's really strange to have the team totals at 17.5. And then you got the over-under at 37. It just went to 37.5. So 37.5. Looking at that Jets offense and the fact that I just believe that they are ready to absolutely give up on Zach Wilson, I'm going to go ahead and take the Jets minus 17.5. I don't think they're going to get to 18 points. The only way this thing backfires on me is if the Jets shorten the field or maybe get a pick six. But if you watch that Jets offense, it is atrocious. And the fact that Tim Boyle has not been the starter, named the starter yet for any of these games, tells me that they have very little faith in him as well. So what the hell do you do about that? I don't know, but I do know this. That Jets offense is just awful. And the Jets defense is phenomenal. And I am tempted to grab the under in this game at 37, but the problem with that is the Jets special teams have coughed up points. Zach Wilson is bound to make it a short field, so you're not guaranteed that the Jets defense is going to be have enough rest. What about that last touchdown they gave up in the game, which literally was them just basically mailing it in? If you take that out of the equation and you prevent that special teams touchdown, the Jets are trailing 13-6 at the end of the game. They might have had a chance to win it. Now we might get some more information as we get closer to kickoff on Sunday. I'm waiting to see what happens on Sunday evening as far as any kind of news that comes out about Wilson and company. But as of right now, I've got to side with give me the under Jets minus 17.5. If you find out Tim Boyle's playing quarterback, reverse this. In fact, I'll go ahead and state it now. If Boyle, I'll take the over if Boyle's the starting quarterback. But as of right now, here on a Thursday, I got to tell you to take the under. Because if nothing else, I think the team would play inspired with another quarterback. We give them a puncher's chance, and they wouldn't. Maybe they don't have a quarterback who stands there with the deer in the headlights repeatedly. It's ridiculous. Gosh darn ridiculous. All right, that'll do it for hour number one. We're going to step aside.
Now we can finally play the game. It is the third Saturday in October, and the show is on one more time in Knoxville, Tennessee.
We are live in Tallahassee, the capital of the great state of Florida.
There's no law against scalping tickets in this part of the country, and premium prices have been paid.
That's Desmond Howard going in motion on 2nd down and 5 for Michigan, playing on real grass at Michigan Stadium. Throw it to the sideline. It is intercepted. Florida State was sitting and waiting for it, and Terrell Buckley has scored a touchdown. How do you do?
56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone for the play. The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California.
The throw down, he's going to go deep. And I mean deep. And I mean touchdown, Florida. Tyree Cleveland in a miracle finish. A Hail Mary that's full of grace for the Gators.
Barkley trying to bounce it. And does escape. Saquon Barkley in the clear. Still going. Saquon Barkley all the way to the end zone. Electric. 79 yards.
It's a 31-30 game, and what does Nebraska do?
I have not seen the kicker come on the field, and I don't think he's coming on the field. Tom Osborne made this decision a long time ago. He's decided to go for two and take his shot and win, and I commend him for it.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
And if in 48 seconds they become the winner, they certainly deserve to be national champions.
Here come the Seminoles of Florida State, one of the great traditions in college football, and this becoming one of the nation's favorite rivalries. It's a battle for flagging rights and recruiting advantages in the state of Florida as the Gators come calling, and Chief Osceola ready to get it started. College football. A matchup from the state of Florida. It's the Gators against the Seminoles on an overcast day in Tallahassee.
Moody flushed, throws it down. Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it.
Today, we've got number 1 Seminoles against number 2 in the capital city of Tallahassee.
Yeah, the armchair quarterback. He's kind of fun and he's kind of fat. The all-American man. With a cool one in his head.
Good morning. We got Bobby on the way. He's having some technical problems. Joey and Tones are on a plane. I can't even remember where they're going. Those guys go on more vacations, but they are on a plane, so that's why they are not here today. That's why we're starting a little later than normal. Bobby will be on here in a second. He said he was having to set up his computer, so we'll see what's going on with that. And, of course, we've got Trosh will be here in just a bit. Doug is on the way. We're going to talk college football. We're going to talk the big game. Nah, not the one you're thinking of. We're going to talk Florida State, Miami. Let's get it. Still waiting to see if, so for folks who may not be paying attention to what's going on in the world of football this morning, if you're just kind of waking up and getting things going, there was a report that this goes off of the Jim Harbaugh suspended for 3 games in case you missed that last night. There is a report out there that says that he is appealing that suspension. And with that being said, you got that suspension. We're waiting the ruling on it. He is close by at the stadium right now as we speak. Now, if anyone else hears it before I do, please throw it into the chat. It would be much appreciated. But he is evidently close by, and if the suspension gets lifted, remember, their game starts in 90 minutes. So if it gets lifted, he will head to the stadium. So I'm assuming he's essentially right outside the stadium somewhere. And they appealed it to a Michigan judge, and waiting on that right now as I continue to update and keep going on. Let me see here. 18 seconds ago, Dove Kleiman, assuming this is breaking news, will not be coaching at Penn State today. Michigan offensive coordinator Sharon Moore will serve as head coach. This comes as there will not be a ruling today in Jim Harbaugh's request as a temporary restraining order. So that's pretty interesting. He put in an appeal yesterday, and now they're saying that he is not going to get the ruling. Look, my take on this is we all know that Michigan cheated, and we all know that realistically he deserves a suspension. But at the same token, here's Bobby. As we welcome Bobby in. Mr. Bobby, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. Do we know who the Gators are playing today?
Yes, we do. They're playing at LSU, unfortunately. Probably not going to be a good game. We're pretty big underdogs in this one, and we haven't been good on the road. So prepare for the worst.
And it does look like I believe that Jaden Daniels is set to play. So I can't imagine Florida going in there and shocking the world. That Florida defense has been pretty shaky at best. That's about the nicest thing I can say about it.
Yeah.
And Jaden Daniels, for my money, I know a lot of people are on, Drake May, Caleb Williams, et cetera, et cetera. For my money, that's the guy that I would draft. If I was starting a team this coming year, I've watched him several times.
Yeah.
And I am more impressed by what he does on a football field than any other quarterback in college football.
I think he'll be a good value pick. I'm sure he'll go in the mid rounds. In the
mid
draft
rounds.
I don't think he's going to go too high just because of the age factor. And I don't know. I think there's going to be concern of whether or not his style translates to the NFL. I think he'll be a good value pick though, wherever he ends up.
Well, agree to disagree on that one. I think after he hits the combine, you're gonna be seeing a guy going very high.
Possibly.
I look at him, and he's first of all, he's very accurate with his passes. That's number one. Yeah. He's an unbelievable athlete.
Can't argue that.
Why do you think the age factor is going to hold him back?
Just because older quarterbacks, quarterbacks who have been around in college football, they don't tend to go. It's not as bad as the NBA draft where if you stay until your senior year in college basketball, you're destined to be a second-round pick. But there is an age factor with him that he's been around for a little bit longer, so of course he's going to have that experience and play a little bit better than. And his steal and his room for improvement isn't going to be as high compared to guys like Caleb Williams and Drake May.
How old is he right now? Do you know?
Let's see.
You're saying age factor. I mean, you're making it sound like he's like Chris Winkie.
He's about to be 23.
Oh, he's 23.
But that's in terms of college quarterbacks going into the NFL. I mean, most of these guys are out of there by the end of their junior year.
You are a babe in the woods, man. You think 23 is an age factor?
I think it is. I think it is. And I'm just, or not so much the age factor. I'm talking about like his experience in college football. I think he's had more room to improve in college football. He's not going to have as much room to improve in the NFL. I don't think he can, but it's just his ceiling won't be as high compared to guys like.
I see it totally different. I see Jaden Daniels is a more polished product, a guy who's going to be ready to start for you in week one. If the Titans didn't already have Will Levis and he looks like he's going to be the real deal, I would be excited for the Titans to jump on him. I'm going to tell you right now where I would love to see him go, and that's the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons need a Jaden Daniels in that offense. Someone with a threat like that with his legs.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they're looking for that,
they might. Playing this because you want him to fall to the Cardinals so the Cardinals can trade away Kyler Murray?
No, definitely not. Or Jaden Daniels, come on, man. Not a chance. No, I could see him going. If he has a good combine, and I know Hendon Hooker had an ACL tear at the end of last year, so that affected his stock, but I could see him going in that Hendon Hooker range.
Hooker had more to do with the fact that he wasn't going to be able to play this year.
Yeah, which fair enough. But he's the guy. He had great talent, and I know the ACL tear is part of why he dropped. But great talent. He played great, put together a great season at Tennessee. But him being around in college football a lot longer than those younger guys that I think played it.
Yeah, I just look at his 23. It's not like before I looked it up, I thought you were saying he was like.
No, he's not Stetson Bennett. He's not that
28 years old, and you're only going to get 5 good years out of him. I mean, you're still talking about a guy that could go out there and play for 15 years, and with his speed, probably 8 to 10 years will still be a factor, right?
Yeah.
But his speed, I don't know. I get. Well, I'll tell you what. Watch him tonight, and then give me an honest answer next week. How about that?
That's
because when I watch him more and more, and I wasn't as impressed against him against Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel like that he was really – I don't feel like LSU was really ready for Florida State, okay? I really felt like that not that the FSU defense is that suffocating. I just think that was a very tough pill to swallow in week one.
Yeah, week
the
one.
More and more I've
I don't
watched,
like to put too much stock in them.
Even in the Alabama game, and I think they might have pulled off that upset if he doesn't get that cheap shot and get knocked out of the game.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think the Alabama kid was trying to knock him out, but I do think it deserved him being kicked out of the game. And riddle me this, Batman, why the hell wasn't he? But if he stays healthy in that game, Alabama's damn sure not cruising to the victory. It would have been a hell of a damn dogfight.
Well, and even besides Jaden Daniels leaving the game, if it would have been an injection, it would have been Dallas Turner, their best defensive player, leaving the game. That's their star edge rusher, so that would have made a huge impact. And also, it could have affected them this week as they head to Lexington. And you're talking about not having him for the first half of a Kentucky game. That look, I know everyone expects Alabama to roll. I'm not positive on that. I could see there being a letdown considering they played a night game, a big rival. They're heading into Lexington. It's not going to be a whole hell of a lot of fanfare. It doesn't have a big moment feel to it. And a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid is still a kid and is still dealing with the fact that is he excited to be there, right? So if they didn't have him for the first half of the Kentucky game, I still think Alabama probably wins, but you're talking about a much more dicey situation heading into the halftime. Yeah, absolutely.
What is your take on this Jim Harbaugh thing? The ruling just came down minutes ago. There will be no ruling on his request for an appeal because they're just not going to give a ruling today, which is asinine. Because here's my take on it. He cheated. He probably deserves some kind of suspension. I get that. But to drop it on a Friday news drop and not give him enough time and his team and his players enough time. And I know the naysayers are going to say, well, they cheated, the cheating bastard shit. I get that. I understand that argument. But the fact of the matter remains, why did you wait till a Friday news drop to put this on him? It feels like that they are stacking the deck against Michigan.
That's true. I didn't quite think about it like that, the timing of it. If it would have happened earlier in the week, I think it would have been maybe a little bit more positively received.
Even Thursday, right?
I think,
because you probably get a ruling on an appeal if it happens on Thursday, then Friday. The other thing is this, and I know a lot of folks probably out there think that it's like Madden or something. They're just pushing buttons as a head coach. They've gone all week long preparing for this big game.
Yep. And
then less than 24 hours before kickoff, they get this bomb dropped on them. and he's not allowed to communicate with any of the staff. That'll be the next scandal. the entire entire coach staff have earbuds in their ear with Harbaugh. Harbaugh on a CB radio outside the stadium. But it's just, to me, it feels like they waited till the last dog was dead specifically to catch them flat-footed.
That's possible. It's possible, and I do think it would have been more fair if it would have happened earlier in the week. But if we're talking about the punishment, I think the punishment as a whole was a bit of a slap on the wrist. I think it was very light for what happened. And I see people saying, I see I saw some ESPN analyst, I forget his name, I wish I could remember it because it really frustrated me seeing this, talking about how he felt so bad for the players and how they shouldn't be robbed of whatever opportunities that are going to be in front of them. The players may not have directly done it, but that team cheated. That team cheated for years, and they robbed other teams of the chance to go to the college.
I'm going to guess this was Desmond Howard. I'm gonna guess it was either Desmond Howard or Sean O'Toole was saying that.
It wasn't a Michigan guy. It was someone who I really don't like. It was someone who I really don't like, and it wasn't a Michigan guy.
That doesn't narrow it down when you're talking about ESPN.
Yeah, there's a lot of them I don't like on ESPN, but I'll text it to you afterwards. I remember he said it, and it frustrated me so much.
Was it? It wasn't off of his show, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was I sent it to my friend too. I wish I could remember it off the top of my head.
Trying to light Mac Magee, and I can't help but feel like I'm watching just a really bad version of a WWE pregame show.
Yeah,
he's all fluff.
Yeah.
Like he started off this morning doing the Georgia Bulldog fight song, right? Or I guess it's not considered their fight song, but their chant, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And he plays to the crowd, and he's good at it. I'll give him that. But he's not my cup of tea.
He gets people fired up, and he doesn't entertain me, but he entertains a lot of people. But when it comes to talking about the sport, not the best.
I agree. Tony says, I'll be surprised if Penn State is physical enough to beat Michigan. See, I believe that too. There's a couple of things that I believe in this game. A, Michigan was dealt a bad hand. B, they're going to be motivated.
They are. And did you see the thing on Twitter where all their players were tweeting the word bet? They're ready to go win for Harbaugh, I guess.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, basically the players are all rallying together saying, like, okay, we can do this stuff. So they're going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder.
Okay. Sorry for that sound. My speakers are down. I'm having a hard time hearing you. No, I didn't see that. Look, that doesn't surprise me. I think they're going to go. I grabbed this line early in the week when it was minus 185 on the money line.
Yeah.
Because this is one of these games I really don't want to get in the weeds of the point spreads. It keeps going up between 4.5 to 4, back and forth. We'll take a look at it here in a second. Again, by the way, on that news, for you folks in Florida, just so y'all know, and I'm going to start referencing this in my Football Friday shows on the point spreads. We're using Hard Rock Bet Live point spread now. Their sports book went live 2 days ago. So you can now bet in the state of Florida on Hard Rock Bet. Now, there's a caveat to it. If you downloaded the app back in 2021, you can then re-download it and you're good to go. If not, I believe they put you on some kind of a waiting list. And I have heard, though, that you can actually go physically to the casino in at the Seminole Indian Casino and apply, and they will get you set up right there, and then you would be able to bet. So I don't know how many casinos there are. I've never been to a Seminole Hard Rock Casino. I believe there's one in Tampa, but I don't know how many there are. So that's another option as well. I was able to get it to go, and I'm good to go. Steven will be with us here in a few minutes, and he says he's still sitting in limbo waiting to get approved. I figured because he's got one of those poverty Android phones, and they're not letting him get – there's something going on.
You better wear headphones today like you're talking about.
I mean, it's always something with Androids. And Android users will always try to sell you on it and say, oh, it's a better product. You don't understand. It does this and that. No,
look how far the camera can zoom in.
Right. There's always something going on. There's always a glitch with it. I mean, everything to do with an Android, not just the phone, but everything to do with Android is an absolute S show.
By the way, I found who said that thing about Michigan. It was Greg McElroy on ESPN. He said the players shouldn't be robbed of the opportunity to play in the college football playoffs, and the players should be robbed of the opportunity to give their coach the best chance to succeed. No, I don't want to hear that. They cheated for multiple years. That team robbed other players on all the teams they played. They robbed them of their chance to play in the college football playoffs to win games for their coach. I don't want to hear that. That's garbage.
I'm not a big McElroy fan either.
It's garbage. They cheated, and I don't know why people feel so bad for the players all of a sudden that they deserve a slap on the wrist. Because
you got to look at McElroy and realize he's an Alabama guy.
Yeah,
that dude's been cheating from the jump. He doesn't. he doesn't look at this as cheating.
If he calls out Michigan for it, then he'd have to call himself out pretty much, or his team.
Good morning to everybody in the chat. I see roll call real quick. Brian, Kenneth, Tony, Brandon, talking about Michigan and Penn State. We're going to get into the other games here in a second. Real quick, what is your prediction on this game?
On the Michigan-Penn State game?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Michigan gets out of there with a win, and I hate to say it because I'm going to be rooting hard against them. But I think they'll go out there and win. I do think they'll have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, but like what was mentioned earlier in the show, I think they're going to be more physical, and I think they're the more talented team. So I'm going to say they get out of there with a 27-21 win.
See, I don't think Penn State's offense is going to be able to score. I've not been impressed by Penn State's offense.
That's fair.
The one defense they played was Ohio State.
Yeah.
And look, no, Big Ten fans can say what they want. This is it, man. This is a top-heavy conference, and honestly, they play zilch throughout the year to get a good barometer on how good these teams are.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State, Michigan. It's not like Michigan's played anybody, right?
Yeah.
But Michigan's dominated every damn team they've played.
Yeah.
And they've owned them in the trenches. And I'm being honest with you. So what was it? Was it 20-12? That was the Penn State score, I believe it was. And honestly, it wasn't that close.
Yeah.
They were down 26. They scored a garbage touchdown and then inexplicably goes for 2. I'll never understand this nonsense. You're down 14, you score a touchdown, and you go for 2.
Makes no sense.
And they always say, well, the analytics are, and it never works out. It never works out. The team never gets the 2-point conversion, and they're always down by 8. Like, well, you still get another 2-point conversion, and they may tie it up, but it never works out the way they think it's going to work out. Oh, we'll get the 2-point conversion. The next thing you know, we'll win 21-20. Never happens.
No.
I like to see the numbers on that. How many teams go for 2, down 14, they score a touchdown? How many teams go for 2 and end up winning the game? This game to me feels like, because I think Michigan's offense is a lot better than Ohio State's offense. A lot better. Are you ready for my score?
Let's hear it.
38-10.
Oof.
I think they're going to blow their doors off. And what little chance I was going to give Penn State of winning this game went out the door when this thing happened with Harbaugh. Because now you got a team, and look, they've already felt this beginning of the year, right? With the 3-game suspension.
Yeah.
How many times is this guy going to get a suspension?
Yeah.
They already had this us against the world mentality, and now they're even more locked in.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm with you, man. I'm pulling for. Well, I would say I'm pulling for Penn State, but I did put my money on Michigan.
At least, hey, you either be happy or you get money. One of the two.
Yeah, that's
happy either way, I guess.
But I guess the way they did Harbaugh, I'm a little less likely to pull against Michigan now.
So that's fair.
Now I really don't care. Now like before, there was more of a man. I hope Doug is using the headphones. Hope Doug is listening. I hope he got the information in the email, because evidently he's got one of those poverty echo. I'm just going to start calling them echo phones. But back to what I was saying, what little chance that I was giving Michigan of losing this game is just, to me, I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think there's going to be a realization from the Penn State fans. And it's funny, I've heard this argument before that James Franklin is overrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he is. I think he's properly rated. I think he is who he is. He's a coach that right now is not the big one, right? Mm-hmm. But when you start making your list of the top coaches in America, does James Franklin even come on into your mindset?
No, because he'll always be third fiddle to Michigan and Ohio State. He's always going to be third in line. I don't see them ever getting over the hump. They've had teams that have had a ton of talent, and Franklin's a solid coach, but he's not going to get that team to that Big Ten championship level.
And I wish we had Tones on the show today because I would like to know, assuming that he could give us a very honest opinion on this. Is it James Franklin's fault, or is it that difficult to recruit to Penn State? Because what I'm not familiar with Penn State, because I hear updates all the time, but I've never heard one on Penn State, is when they're updating the facilities. And they're I like to call it the arms race of college football, right? Yes. Where you're constantly seeing facilities being upgraded because they, along with the NIL deals nowadays, but they always knew that was a part of it, right? That was one of the first things that when I remember when they hired Mike Norvell at Florida State, his big thing when he came there that he talked about in his opening press conference was that he was coming there because there was a commitment to upgrading the facilities, and we've seen them upgraded over the last couple of years, and they're still planning to do more. But I don't remember ever seeing anything like that with Penn State. You see it with LSU. I've seen plans for Florida. I've seen it's and the thing is, it's a constant thing. You can't just go, well, we got a new gym, so we're done now. It's, the next guy. You remember the video we saw a couple of years ago of LSU and how cool their locker room looked and everything. Yep. So, have you ever seen anything like that with Penn State? So, is it him, or is it more difficult? Can he attract very, very good 3-star? Maybe in some 4-star guys, or does he have the facilities to welcome in a 5-star guy?
That's true.
So that's my big question with him when everyone calls him overrated. I don't think he's overrated at all.
I think he's properly rated. I think most people understand that Penn State. Now, obviously, you got people who will say this is the year they do it. It's the year they get over the hump. But realistically, most people expect them to finish second or third in their division in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that he is ever going to be at a situation at Penn State where he's going to have the upper hand when it comes to the recruiting battles of Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah.
Now, this thing spins out of control and gets a little uglier
when you welcome in USC and UCLA, all those big schools from out west.
And what happens with Harbaugh long term?
Yeah.
Then he gets a little bit of an upgrade, but you got a valid point there. You bring in USC, you bring in Washington, you bring in Oregon, who's got more than God with Nike everywhere.
Yeah.
That's going to be an arms race, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to win.
I don't think so.
But I do believe this is going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be the Florida LSU game. What's your score in that?
Oh, geez. Don't do this to me. I'm going to say 38-20 LSU.
I've got LSU winning this one pretty comfortably, but I do think it's going to be a shootout because I still think Merck's going to put some points on the board. I think it's going to be a little funner game than what Gator fans might be expecting. I think you're going to see a game where you might even have a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. Just depends on how it goes. I'll lean on the fact that I think LSU ends up probably winning by 2 possessions.
Yeah.
It's a tight one, and it's one where they have to put one away at the end. Give me LSU to win this one like 45-35. Just an up and down battle. This is assuming that Daniels is good to go.
Yeah.
And we will talk about the poverty program of the Miami Hurricanes next, as Steven is on the way. I see Brian's little pathetic comment, And hey, we got good news in Seminole country, baby. The poverty franchise of the Hurricanes are in trouble. Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman are a go. They announced it this morning. We will be back in a flash. Okay, this week, Florida State, Miami, in Hassie, we're going to make Seminole Screaming Nachos. And we're starting them off by I did yellow potatoes mainly because they're a lot easier to cut. You can do whatever potatoes you want to do, but I did yellow potatoes, slice them fairly thin, and then put the Holy Grail, salt, pepper, and garlic salt over the top of them with oil. Slid them in the oven, par cooked them, then pulled them out of the oven and put Parmesan cheese, shredded Parmesan cheese over it. We finished them off in the oven, and this is what you see right here. What you hear in the background is my baby dogs getting ready for the game. They got their game face on. All right, so these are the chips that we're going to put the nachos on, and it's going to be a chicken nacho. We got the chips, and then all I did was cook off chicken breast. You can do chicken breast. You can do chicken tenders. Does not matter. And we chopped them up. We seasoned them. Season them however you like. I did salt and pepper. We're going to stack them as so. And now it's ready for the peppers, the onions. And the peppers and onions are going to be garnet and gold just like the Florida State Seminoles. Okay, the peppers and onions, here we go. We're going to stack them. It's going to be good. So once again, you got the yellow potatoes with the Parmesan cheese kicking. You've got the peppers and onions. You've got the chicken. We're going to finish it off with a little bit of cheese and sour cream. Finished product here. You've got the chips with the Parmesan, salt, pepper, and garlic salt. You got the chicken seasoning. We did salt and pepper. Do it however you want. We added the cheese, the peppers, the onions. And I went with red and yellow peppers for obvious reasons. Florida State colors. That's why they're the Screaming Seminoles. And you've got some guacamole, if you'd like. And we put sour cream on top. And there you have it, the Screaming Seminole. If anyone asked you how to make a Screaming Seminole, you tell them, let a goddamn hurricane walk in the room. Welcome back. Let's see. Now, Doug, did you get our memo about the it says that you have a poverty phone. The what are those things called? Androids? And there's a possibility of an echo.
I tried to run it through a different server. I hope that helps.
Okay. It sounds okay. So, and they may have fixed it, but I did get the alert as soon as you jumped into the room that it was big flashing letters said poverty phone alert. Steven, how are you, sir? You're wearing the wrong colors.
I'm wearing the right colors for me, but I don't know. This is going to be a rough day.
Let's hope so. Let's hope everything goes according to plan. For folks who might just be waking up, joining us, Jim Harbaugh will not coach today. It's not that his appeal got declined. His appeal is not going to be heard. This whole thing is a bunch of horse hockey to me. But what is your take on it, Steven?
I think he's going to end up serving that suspension. I think from everything I've seen, Harbaugh really had no knowledge of anything that really went on. And if that is true, I think this was more performative than anything. They just kind of felt they had to do something to Michigan. And I think that was the easiest and quickest punishment they could do at this time without.
There's no way he didn't know what was going on.
I know. Like I said, if that was true. But yeah, I mean, like especially with Michigan's.
Don't go down the Sean O'Toole rabbit hole, man. Where I don't know what he's been sending you, or probably some conspiracy theories off of TikTok or something. But there's no way he didn't know.
I've seen Michigan fans say it was just one rogue staffer. Harbaugh had no knowledge about it. It's just one guy. Come on.
What I would love to see, screw Harbaugh and on the sidelines. What I would love to see is for Connor to show up in
his disguise.
Yes, some kind of a disguise.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the guy's name. Groucho Marx mask, standing over on the sideline. I would love to see that. Doug, what's your take on this?
Oh, pretty much the same thing. I'm already tired of hearing it.
Well, to me, it's fascinating because I did notice that they made sure he was going to be good to go by the Big 12 championship game, and they made damn sure he was going to be ready to go by the college football playoff.
Yeah. I mean, this reminds me of years ago. Pete Carroll went through a scandal when he was coaching at USC, and the same thing will happen to do. He'll have no knowledge. He'll go on to either coach the Raiders or another team. He'll leave Michigan, go coach the Raiders, go coach another NFL team, and that'll be the end of it.
Oh, I didn't think about the fact you didn't want to speak ill of Harbaugh because he's going to be your next football coach.
Of course.
He will. I'd be shocked if he isn't coaching an NFL team next year. I think this is the time he bounces.
Yeah, I don't see him coming back. I don't see him. I don't see him having the desire to come back.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be sitting exactly where in Las Vegas, but there's no way the guy didn't know about it. I mean, let's be honest.
And on top of that, he's losing J.J. McCarthy this offseason. He's going to be losing Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, a bunch of their best players in the trenches. They're losing a lot of talent. He's going through a big scandal. His second of the year. I think it's the end of the road for him in Michigan.
I think a lot of these kids will transfer too.
Yeah.
Because if something is put on Michigan long term, let's say they're not able to go to the playoffs next year or whatever happens with it, because this is just what came down from the Big Ten, nothing from the NCAA.
Yeah.
These kids aren't going to sit around here with the transfer portal and everything. They're just going to bolt.
Especially not with the big question mark at head coach. Not with without Harbaugh there.
And my favorite part of this whole saga was the news that, like, the stuff that came out where Michigan's defense to the Big Ten was, well, Ohio State and Penn State do it too.
Yeah.
So why are we getting in trouble?
Yeah.
And the thing is, what they tried to dime out Ohio State and others for doing, it's not the same thing, man.
They already came back and said there was no evidence that those schools were doing it. So it's
coaches sharing notes has been going on for years, and there's nothing illegal about it.
Yeah.
There's a big damn difference between, let's say you're coaching the Hurricanes, I'm coaching the Noles. I just faced whatever team and we're buddies, and I tell you, hey, this is what I saw, this is what I learned from it, right?
Yeah.
There's a big difference between that and me sending Bobby with the Halloween costume on the sidelines of my next opponent, just standing there with a blinking light on his camera. I mean, on his glasses and taking video. It's just a big difference.
Yeah,
I get what they tried to do. They tried to say what everybody's doing. Everybody's not doing this.
No.
Because if there were, it would have been going on for so long. There would be whistleblowers coming up all over the place. There'd be some guy who's now an assistant coach who was like a grad assistant at Alabama and says, oh, I definitely did it. There would be all kinds of junk going on. None of this is happening. I don't think a lot of people thought of it. I'm not going to say it wasn't creative and it wasn't smart, but there's a reason why it's illegal. But hey, the next time you do something like this, can we use our damn brains? Michigan, I thought you were a higher learning institution. You put a paper trail on the whole damn thing? Can we not pay in cash? Did they quit inventing cash?
Unbelievable.
I mean, the whole damn thing is on. It was like Venmo and everything else. There's a paper trail left and right. I'd have been like, dude, not only are you driving, okay, you're not flying. Not only are you driving, but every stop along the way, you are going to use cash. Getting your gas, if you have to stay in a hotel. I don't give a damn. You're probably not staying in any hotels, sir. You're probably staying in a motel where you can get a wink and a nod and a fitty spot. I was never here. No, he went in style, man. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyways, when one thing is for certain, this week the rubber will meet the road. If for some reason all this cheating, all this knowing of the signals was the reason why Michigan was so good, then that tells me Penn State's going to beat the hell out of Michigan today. It'll be like 48-3, and everyone's going to go, oh, damn. Bobby's got Michigan winning a tough one, 27-21. Steven, what's your score?
I'm right along those same lines. I'll mix it up a little bit, 28-20, Michigan.
Doug, what do you got?
Yeah, I've got Michigan winning 35-31.
I'll say it again. I got Michigan winning 38-10. I think they're going to be inspired. I also think Penn State's offense is extremely. I don't even think it's overrated at this point. Just we know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like something from the 1960s, and eventually, what's going to happen is James Franklin's going to get pressure to get a new offensive scheme in Happy Valley. All right, we move on from that game. Believe it or not, there are more games today, and I'll just go kind of in order as far as when they're kicking off. Alabama, Kentucky. Bama's an 11.5-point favorite. The over-under 46.5. This is a very interesting game to me because I'm looking at Alabama, smelling themselves a little bit, coming off the big win. They don't necessarily have to win this game, by the way, to get to the SEC championship game. They are still undefeated in the Southeastern Conference. Their only loss came to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, little bit of a spotting dimes and eating onions. They're 6-3. They're 3-3. You don't really know what Kentucky team you're going to get from week to week. Is it the team that got the doors blown off by Georgia when they faced a big foe? Or is it the team that throttled Florida the week before that? Or is it the team that right after that, they get their butts handed to them in their own house by Missouri? Or is it the team that gave Tennessee a hell of a game and only lost by 6?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they would struggle at Mississippi State. They went in there and smashed them in the mouth.
I think they could catch Alabama sleeping, coming off a big win last week. But ultimately, I think Alabama, they have more they're playing for. I know you said they can afford to take a loss and still go to the SEC championship, but they have bigger hopes than that. They still are a one-loss team. They still have a very clear path to the college football playoffs if they run the table.
I wasn't insinuating that they didn't, that their eyes weren't on the prize. What I was saying, if they were to fall, the sky's not falling for them. They could still get to the SEC title game.
Yeah, that is still true. But ultimately, I think they have too big of aspirations. I don't think they're going to be caught. If they do get caught sleeping, it might be during the first quarter. I think it'll be a quick wake-up call. But I think Alabama's going to get out of there with a pretty convincing win.
Give me a score.
Let's say 35-20.
So you're saying take Alabama minus the 11.5.
Yeah. I think
you're also saying take the over 46.5. Doug, what say you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same mindset. I mean, like I said, from week to week, you don't know which Kentucky you're going to get, and I don't think they're going to get the good Kentucky this week. Take the over, take the 11. I'm saying Alabama wins 30-13.
Steven?
Yeah, I said it earlier in the season that Alabama will fall at some point. This is going to be the week. They're going into Kentucky. I think that good Kentucky team shows up. You mentioned that they're kind of smelling themselves. They do have to win this game to stay relevant, like Bobby said. Though, 11 points. Though it's just, I think, like I said, the good Kentucky team's going to show up. Give me 30-27. Kentucky winning it and knocking Alabama off.
I feel like Alabama's going to win this game. If there was a line that I liked, it would be the under in the first half. Because most books have it around 24 points. 24.5, I think, is what I got it at. but I may have had to have paid a higher price on that. The reason why I say that is I feel like it's going to come out sluggish. I don't think Kentucky's going to move the ball a whole lot on Alabama, period. But I really feel like Alabama's should come out slow, and they're methodical. And Alabama, the one thing that they are doing well as the game wears on, we saw this in the Tennessee game, as the game wears on, their physicality starts to really lean on a team. That's second half problems. So I'm trying to get the hell out of the game. I put my money on the first half, and then I'm not paying attention to what happens in the second half. I don't care. So I like this to be a low-scoring first half. That's my lean on this. If I was going to take a line on this, I believe I would probably take Alabama minus the 11.5. I don't hate the idea, though, of teasing Kentucky, because if you tease Kentucky right now, you're going to get past a couple of what they call the key numbers. It's going to take you to 17.5 points. So it's going to take you past the 14, past the 13, past the 17, which are common scores in football. You're going to get 17.5 points. And if you tease it down, you're also talking about the over-under being 46.5 goes to 40.5. And I feel like that's gettable. But I do worry about that Kentucky offense if they fall behind. Your only chance is if Kentucky owns the game going in the very beginning, and it's a slug 'em, punch them in the mouth type of game where they can continue to run the football. If they fall behind 1 or 2 scores, do they panic? Do they abandon everything? Do they start chucking the ball around? And the next thing you know, it's a Milroe type of day.
Yeah. Well, if they get behind early, it's going to be trouble because Ray Davis has been probably their best player on offense. Devin Leary hasn't lived up to expectations like a lot of people thought he would for Kentucky this year. So if they fall behind and they start needing to throw the ball to catch back up, yeah, it's going to be a long day for Kentucky.
I'll take Alabama 27-17. That puts you just under the under, and it just covers the spread. But I would not be shocked if late in the fourth quarter I'm getting text from Steven talking about, look out, man, here we go. Which will be the last text that I'll read from Steven, because once that Florida State-Miami game kicks off, I ain't looking at my damn phone the rest of the day. And if we win, I ain't going to be screwing with them because that's just become my code. But if we lose, I damn sure I might have to go to an unlisted number. Let's go ahead and I'll tell you what, right before we get to that one, we do have a couple other games of interest in that noon window. Arizona, anyone giving Colorado a chance to upset them? It's in Colorado. It's a 9.5 point spread.
No.
Nope.
I think they can do it. I'm not super sold on it happening though.
I feel like Arizona might be one of the more underrated teams in all of college football. You don't hear anybody talking about them.
Yeah.
But, man, they are a good football team.
They've held close to some good teams. I know they went to the wire with USC, went to the wire with Washington. They've had some good losses.
I had some interest in possibly grabbing this game even on a tease or something. Then I saw it was on the Pac-12 network. I was like, no, that's just going to piss me off all day long that I can't see the thing. So I'm done. I'm not betting on it. I feel like if I was going to lean one way or the other, I would take Arizona minus the 9.5. But it does feel like that thing got underneath 10 because they're wanting you to take Arizona. I'm more likely to tease this thing down to where Arizona just has to win by a touchdown. And one more game of interest. Well, I don't know if this is of interest, but it's of relevance. Noon kickoff, FS1. Kansas Rock Chalk Jayhawk, a 4-point favorite against the 4-5 Texas Tech Red Raiders. Steven, where are you leaning on this?
I'm leaning on Kansas here to hold firm. I just don't think that Texas Tech has the firepower to keep up with Kansas.
They cover?
No, I think Kansas wins by a touchdown.
Doug, Kansas cover the 4?
Yes, they win by 10 points today.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. I actually took this game. I think I money lined it, but I took this game. I don't understand this spread.
It does kind of worry me. It feels like a trap because you're looking at 16 team at home against a team that's below 500 in Texas Tech. It does scare me that they're only 4-point favorites. I feel like it might be a trap, but I just want to go with logic here and say a better team, a more talented team is going to win, Kansas, and they're going to win pretty big.
It just seems like to me all year long, and I really don't understand the reasoning behind it, but Texas Tech has been overvalued.
Yeah.
And you look at what Texas Tech has done. Not only do they have a losing record, they have a losing record in the conference. The only thing I can think of is that people keep harping on the fact that they gave Oregon a scare in week 2. That's the only thing I can think of, because other than that, I mean, what win is impressing you? Tarleton State, Houston, a Baylor team that's down on its luck.
Yeah,
they have gotten their, let's call it a spade a spade. They got their ass kicked by BYU last week. By 2 touchdowns. They got throttled by Kansas State. So because they beat TCU? Is that why?
Not a high bar to me.
Can people quit thinking that TCU is the TCU of 2000? This isn't 2022 anymore, folks.
Yeah, it's not a good TCU team.
It's a terrible TCU team. No one's giving ABC the heads up on that because they got that as your Saturday night game. Thanks a lot, Miami, for dropping the ball and losing to NC State. Now they got us at the 3:30 kickoff window.
Georgia Tech too.
But even then, why the hell isn't Miami, Florida State the damn 7?
That's a rivalry game too.
Because Miami's bad.
It's got, look, I know it hasn't been as relevant as it should be in recent years, but it's got a lot of pageantry to it. Florida State, Miami, greater than Texas TCU.
Yeah. I guess TCU, I'm thinking the only reason they're in that spot is because obviously they're playing Texas, who's a big draw, but for TCU, it's just because they went to the championship last year. But this team sucks, and they're probably going to get throttled tonight.
They're 4-5. It's a 12-point spread. What are we talking about?
Yeah, it's ridiculous that they're in that slot. And then you got a rivalry game in Miami and Florida State, which that would definitely get more eyes on it if it was in that slot.
Idiot's theory behind this was the reason why that the Texas TCU game was the 7:30 kickoff is because they're further west and people stay up later. Okay, first of all, it's Saturday night, and Florida State Miami fans will stay up till 10:30, 11 o'clock to watch a football game. What the hell are we talking about? So they're an hour behind FSU Miami. Let's not act like they're playing out in Hawaii.
That argument's invalid because Duke and North Carolina play at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to win the 3:30 window, because if you look at the rest of the slate, obviously West Coast fans will be hitting Utah, Washington. Your SEC heads will be Tennessee, Missouri, and then you got Florida State, Miami. I get that part of it, and they're trying to win that window. But, man, you look at the 7 o'clock games. So Ole Miss and Georgia's on ESPN, and maybe that had a factor. Maybe that factored in. But from my understanding, what made the decision, because they kept waiting on CBS to decide who they were going to put on the slate. Had CBS decided they were going to go Ole Miss, Georgia, then Florida State, Miami still would have been the 7:30 kickoff. But because ESPN ended up with Ole Miss, Georgia, because CBS went with Tennessee, Missouri, which explain that one to me. Why the hell did you not have Georgia, Ole Miss as the game? What? But that was the reasoning coming down from the upper echelon. But I'm still saying to myself, who the hell east of the Mississippi is watching TCU at 7:30 tonight when you have Ole Miss and Georgia at 7, Florida LSU at 7:30? Steven just talked about North Carolina and Duke. And what was the other one? I don't expect Ohio State, Michigan State to be. West Virginia, Oklahoma at 7 o'clock, which is an okay game. There's no way. ABC is just punting that window. Now, with that being said, it'll end up being 59-58. It'll be an instant classic. And Going into it, it makes zero sense. Yeah. Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk those 30 games, make our predictions. Miami, Florida State, Utah, Washington, Tennessee, Missouri. You've even got Oklahoma State and UCF. It's a tricky spot right there, as well as we'll even on that window, we'll even throw in that Oregon State game. We'll be back in a flash. Keep it locked in here on the Armchair Quarterback Kickoff Show.
Stupid interviews. Hey, you're a member of the Buffalo Bills. How does it feel?
Well, it's a blessing. I want to thank God. I'm going to try to do my best. It's a great organization. And I'll say the last 80 guys said. So, yeah.
Hockey season, and that means new merch over at OurDragonsMerch.com. Get the latest designs and some of our fun new souvenirs ahead of what's sure to be a great hockey season. Celebrate another season of River Dragons hockey by getting a new look to wear on game days, or surprise the big-time sports fan in your life with a new keepsake that will make them a River Dragons fan for life. Order online right now at OurDragonsMerch.com. That's the letter R, DragonsMerch.com. We'll see you at the rink.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Well, the season's finally here.
The Armchair Quarterbacks are back. Saturdays, 10 a.m., you'll be tailgating with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Mac Magee, Joey and Tones, and the rest of the Armchair Quarterbacks live, 10 a.m. Saturdays this fall. Talking college football, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, the NFL, fantasy football advice, and our picks against the spread. Right here on Braves Country HD, 99.1 FM, WQEE.
Yeah, the Armchair Quarterback.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Yeah, I'd like to bet $100.
You want to pick a team?
No, just take it.
Cause he's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Welcome back.
Yeah, the armchair quarterback.
Here in a moment, we're going to do our underdogs. We'll do our locks. We're going to do, I think everybody survived, right? In the survivor pool. I'm starting a new spreadsheet because I had it jotted down on a piece of paper that I honestly cannot read. So I'm going to be asking you who you picked in week 1 on your, in fact, let's do that real quick. Bobby, who was your survivor team?
My survivor team.
Was it the Saints?
Yeah, it was the Saints. It was the Saints, and they barely got out of there with a win over the Bears. Just barely.
Trosh, who was your survivor team? Is Trosh still there?
Steven, you're muted.
No, like my bad. I had the Saints.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then Doug, who did you have?
I think I had the Saints too.
That's what I thought. I thought most people had the Saints.
You went different to just be the odd man out. It worked out.
Tones had the Browns. I had the Browns. And
Joey had the Colts.
Joey had the Colts, and they Colts won, right?
Yep. I mean,
I have it in front of me. I just
Colts easily won.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go and get the survivor picks out of the way, I guess.
Yep.
Just so y'all know, I did get the survivor picks from Joey and Tones. They were on a plane heading to, I don't remember where. I feel like they're going to a game, but that could be wildly wrong. And they are taking both of them are taking the Dallas Cowboys this week.
Yep.
Steven, who is your survivor pick this week?
I mean, I was going to go the Cowboys. That just feels like the easy pick. But let me get. Let's see. Who do I want to jinx here? Bobby or Doug?
Take the Miami Hurricanes if you're going to jinx somebody.
Take the Falcons.
Now, give me the Raiders. The Jets are just not a good team. I think the Raiders they have a little bit of fire under them with Antonio Pierce heading them up.
That's true.
Okay, it's an interesting one.
Well, and I think that Jets locker room is getting fed up with Zach Wilson and Robert Saleh refusing to bench him.
Why the hell haven't they at least tried Tim Boyle?
It just makes sense. I can't wrap my head around it.
He must be just an absolute disaster in practice.
I mean, it's Tommy DeVito starting. Yeah, like he can't be that bad.
Yeah, and if he is, go pick someone else up.
That's what my theory would be. You'd think at least at one point you would have seen Wilson benched in the middle of a game and saying, "That's it. We've seen enough. This is just horse crap."
Last week should have been it.
And I'm not going to put that loss all on Wilson because the offensive line, they were missing 3 of their starters. They were a sieve. But still, there's just goofy ass throws that he makes that you're like, dude.
It's terrible.
They are going to die on that they're going to die on that hill.
Yep.
They're going to be on that unemployment line. They'll keep Hatchet because that's who Aaron Rodgers wants, but everything else is going to get gutted.
You think they got rid of Mike White just so they didn't have to have this controversy with Zach Wilson?
I guess
they knew people were just going to be begging for him.
I guess, but Mike White would have been the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
A guy that could just get him through games. Now, the problem with White was he finally got his opportunity a couple nights. He couldn't stay healthy. So is that someone you could have leaned on? Now, at the time, beginning of the season, I would have loved the idea because you would have thought you were just buying 1 game, 2 games till Rodgers was coming back from some minor injury. Now that it's in a full season, I don't know if Mike White has what it takes to go a full, but man, couldn't be worse than what we're looking at. I know that much.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'd damn near go Wildcat. Yeah. Dalvin Cook, well, you're taking snaps, buddy, and you're just going to either keep it or pitch it to Brees on the outside and let's go. And every once in a while, we're gonna throw an old alligator pass to Garrett Wilson and keep him, quiet. And yeah, it's a disaster. Doug, who is your lock? I mean, survivor.
Survivor. I've got Buffalo over Denver on Monday night.
I like that one. By the way, if you're looking for a weird lean in this game, a weird bet, do you know who leads all of the National Football League in most touchdowns scored in the first possession of the of games? Most scoring proficiency. It's the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
The Buffalo Bills have given up the 5th most points in the first possession of the game. So I don't know if you can find it on your book, but if you can find something to the effect of you might just want to take the easy way out and take the Broncos in the over in the first quarter. It's probably around 3 points, but they've been very efficient. What that tells me is that Sean Payton does a great job of game planning, and then it all falls apart at the end. But eventually, he goes from game planning to crap. Russell Wilson, what the hell? Did someone say the other day that his big ass contract doesn't even kick in until next year?
Oh Jesus!
I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. I don't know if it was our show. I listen to so many podcasts during the day when I'm working that I just, I consume a lot of this nonsense, but I'm like, what? Anyways, by the way, I have one of those YOLO bets this weekend. Which one screws me? All right, I've already gotten the first two where I took the Boston Celtics and SMU to just get the win. So what I do is I bet off percentages, and whatever that percentage is, that's the money I put down. I don't always put down like an even 50 if it's telling me that I should go, 52, whatever. So usually at the end, I've got a little like extra left over, and I had $2 and I think 3 cents left over, something like that. I was like, all right, I'm going to do a YOLO. So I took the Boston Celtics and SMU to get the win straight out. Which one of these screws me? These are all money lines because I just wanted to be able to check the scoreboard later. A couple of them are underdogs. Most of them are favorites. This is Arizona, Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Utah, Wake Forest, Boston College, and Kansas. Which one screws me?
Utah. Unfortunately.
You think Utah screws me?
You picked Utah? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Church on that one. I think that game's going to be close, though. I don't mind Utah plus 8.5 or whatever it's at.
Yeah, I think they cover. I just don't think they have enough firepower to actually pull it off, especially with it being in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the obvious one. Is there another one that you're like, uh-oh, man, what the hell are you doing betting on that team?
Let's see.
You rattled off so many at the end. I don't even know.
Arizona, Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Wake Forest, Boston College, and Kansas.
Wisconsin. Who does Wisconsin play? Northwestern. They should win that.
Oklahoma State may screw you over.
I'm thinking Wake.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think Oklahoma State will win. UCF's been pretty bad in the conference games this year.
Yeah, just the Oklahoma State play. Were they playing UCF this week?
Yeah.
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 Road. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. The only reason why I even went that direction, and I get what you're saying, Doug, is it's kind of a selfish play. They were my dark horse. If folks remember, they were my dark horse to make the Big 12 championship.
Mm.
And their fate's now in their own hand. They lose, there's going to be chaos because you're going to have a lot of 2-loss teams fighting for that final spot in the last few weeks, and I don't even know who the hell wins all those tiebreakers.
Yeah.
The UCF, Gus Malzahn, the Fighting Malzahns, they scare me. My biggest concern is Oklahoma State going on the road after a big emotional win against Oklahoma.
It's true.
Are they ready to rock?
I guess my thing with UCF is you look at their record and they're 4-5 on the year, which isn't bad, but they're 1-5 in Big 12 games. They've been playing terrible within the conference, and I think Oklahoma State's just going to outmatch them.
Do they cover the 2.5?
No. I think Oklahoma State does, yeah. Not UCF.
Okay. Doug's on the UCF side. What side are you on, Steven? Minus
UCF.
2.5? What's that?
Yeah, I'm on the UCF side.
Yeah, that was one of the coin flip ones. But when you're taking Utah on the road, that's kind of like the least of my worries. I'm just thinking, man. First of all, I was not as impressed by Washington. They really look Penix, man. He was not the story of that game. Everyone keeps wanting to pat him on the back. That rushing attack. What that one kid run for 256 yards, 4 touchdowns. Woo!
Yeah, they've had some games that have no business being as close as they are. I know they beat USC by 2 scores, but it was a 10-point win. They only beat Stanford, who's been bad, by 9. They beat Arizona State by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. I mean,
UCF
played
might
games way too close.
I'm sorry. Oregon might score 90 tonight.
Yeah. That's gonna be ugly.
Ugly, man. Good Lord.
They're my favorite team to throw in a teaser.
How is that a 10:30 game?
Because no one cares. at this point. Just because of how bad USC has been, it's just there's no.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a 7:30 game if USC had won even one of those previous games.
I'd rather see it than Texas TCU. I can tell you that.
With all all right, with everything we're saying, TCU, just go bet the house on it. They're winning tonight.
It's gonna be game of the year.
Man. If you think Caleb Williams was crying last week, wait till the end of this game. It's gonna be full blown mountain tears. I can't remember if I told you all tonight. I know I jotted it down. My survivor pick will be the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, same here. I didn't get mine in, but yeah, I think that's the obvious one. I know it's a boring pick, but they're going to smoke the Cowboys or the Giants.
Well, I don't know how many times I'll be able to pick the Dallas Cowboys, so I'll, might as well get it.
Well,
Man,
hey,
DeVito looks like a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
What's
if
that?
Dallas loses, I win. Did anybody else pick another team?
Doug picks. He picked the Bills.
Bills.
Yeah, I got the Bills Monday night.
So if the Bills and the Cowboys lose, then there you go.
If the Jets can find a way to score 8 or 9 points, you lose.
Okay, the Raiders aren't that bad.
That defense is that good.
And Doug's like, let's see.
Yeah, not
find out.
Not recently. Not if they're giving up on Salah.
That's true.
And
I do think they have a little bit of a fire lit under them because of their new coach, but yeah, not confident enough in the Raiders yet to put my survivor pick on them.
Well, when the over under in this game is 36.5, that tells you a lot.
You know what's even crazier? The Cowboys, I'm seeing them as 17-point favorites, and the line is 38.5. Jeez.
Who thinks the Giants are scoring that much?
Yeah. That's going to be like a...
How the hell are we not getting flexed already, by the way? No offense, Doug, but who wants Jets Raiders as a Sunday night game?
I guess when they set that up, they were thinking Rodgers versus Devontae Adams.
Thankfully, everyone will get a good night's sleep on Sunday night. I guess we can look forward to that. And then the Sunday afternoon game of the week, America's game as they call it, is Giants Cowboys. They gave us the old screw job. Good.
Week 1 wasn't that was one of the most dominant football performances in NFL history, and that's what they want to go with.
They got 49ers Jaguars crammed into the noon slot.
And, if that's not great enough for you, Broncos Bills is your Monday night slate. All right, let's go. Big week of NFL football. Come on, let's get it. You pretty much, man, I'm getting up and watching the 1 o'clock games, and I don't give a crap if I see anything past 4:30.
I'm only watching the late slate just because Falcons Cardinals.
The only reason that the Giants Cowboys are the game of the week is because Lions Chargers is on CBS. That game should be a barn burner.
That's the only game of interest in the second game. I mean,
you're not interested in Kyler Murray's return? What are you talking about?
What's that?
You're not interested in Kyler Murray's return?
No, I am not.
I am. I'm fired up.
I don't know. Washington Seattle should be
remember you said that.
That's my quarterback. I'm not going to give up. I'm never going to give up. That is my quarterback.
So what if he goes to
He's
the
only
Rams?
Halfway decent. I'll leave it. I won't even call him good because I know that'll upset you. He's the only halfway decent quarterback Arizona's seen in almost a decade. I mean, come on. I don't have much out here.
No Drew Stanton?
It's okay.
Personally, if I'm the Cardinals, I'm seeing if anybody would be foolish enough to trade for his contract, and I'm drafting someone new.
You'll see, man. Hey, when he was at his peak, he was one of the best quarterbacks in football. And that's the truth.
That was like 3 years ago.
It was in 2021. It was only 2 years ago.
He was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC.
And he didn't have a coach. I saw him talking about in his press conference. He said he would come over to the sidelines sometimes, and he didn't name names, but there would be a certain coach. His name may be Cliff Kingsbury, who wouldn't look like he would know what's going on. Cliff Kingsbury was a disaster of a coach. I want to see him with a real NFL coach before I really assess him. That was just a mess.
This is the same guy that was playing Xbox and stuff and not reading his
Whatever, man.
Yeah.
That was a rumor. All of his teammates have spoken highly of him. I don't care what random reporters say and all that. Man, look, I believe in Kyler. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to get me off
I'm telling you how I feel. That's what.
You're not getting me off it. And Kyler's going to come back and he's going to look great.
You'd be better off with Cabe Klubnik, man. I'm just telling you.
He'll prove you wrong, man. He'll prove
the
you
better
wrong.
quarterback, Kyler or Will Levis?
Kyler Murray.
Oh, Will, definitely.
Stop it.
It's not even going to be close.
I'm excited to revisit this. The day will come.
You'd be better off with Haynes King. Do you know who he is?
Yes.
Oh. He's taking snaps for Georgia Tech today. And I only know that because it just flashed across the screen a second ago.
People forget how good Kyler was when he was at his peak.
It was a fun 3 games.
Yeah.
It was half a season. And look, he had an injury midway through the season. It derailed the season, and it went terribly. But when he was at his peak, he was a top 3 quarterback in football. He was the MVP frontrunner leading an 8-1 team. And he's done all of this. He's had the worst one of the worst coaches the league has seen in the last 5 years in Cliff Kingsbury. He was dreadful, and he had to deal with that for his entire rookie contract. He's finally got a halfway decent coach. Now we'll assess how he plays. And if he sucks, then fair enough. I give up. But I don't think he will.
On a serious note, I hated to see what happened to Robert Williams III.
Yeah, I was worried, man. It feels like I don't know if we'll ever get a full season out of him.
Did that happen
we'll get any
during a
real
game?
Contributions.
Did his injury happen during a game? Do you know?
I think it was. I want to say.
They said it was his knee.
It was his knee. I think it was like before the season started or something. He re-aggravated. I don't know, something like that. But I know it wasn't in his bad knee though. It wasn't in the one that he I think tore his meniscus or something in the other year. It was the opposite leg, which arguably
ACL, wasn't it? Or do I have that wrong?
No, it wasn't an ACL. It was something. It wasn't that severe of an injury, but it required surgery. And obviously the season's a waste for the Blazers, so they're shutting him down. So,
okay.
It doesn't look good for him though. His knees are torn up.
Bullet dodge for my Celtics, but I hated to see it because I was a big
man. I remember watching him at Texas A&M. There was a game I watched where he was just lighting it up. I was like, I like this guy, and he ends up on my favorite team, but unfortunately, he doesn't seem like he can play.
He's fun when he's healthy, man.
Yeah.
He's just an athletic freak.
Yeah,
and
great defender.
But I'll be honest with you, man. This is the most excited I've been about the Celtics in a long, long time.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're sitting down, Bobby. Do you know what I did the other day?
What'd you do?
I bought the NBA League Pass.
Matt was telling me about that.
Celtics play. That's how much I'm invested in this season. I've watched almost every game so far.
Yeah. Matt was telling me all about that at work, and he's telling me a story about how he bought a League Pass after the Celtics won the championship in 2008, I think, not realizing that they'd be like nationally televised for every game.
Yeah, but they're not. I mean,
yeah,
that had a lot to with me looking when I looked into it, whether I was going to get it or not. Now, here's the irony. I'm probably going because you can go month to month, or you can buy it straight up for the year and save not much. But and normally, I've always thought, well, I'll just buy it towards the end when the games mean more. I'm doing the exact opposite this year.
Nice,
because I got to thinking about it. I was like, okay, so I'm going to be more likely to consume this when we are in these cold months and there's not a lot to do outside, et cetera, et cetera. But when we get past February and you get into March and there's spring training to watch with baseball and March Madness,
and
I get more locked into college basketball, that's it. I'm done. Because then by April, May, all that stuff's on regular TV. So that's how I talked myself into it. I was like, man, November, I think I want to watch this team. I'm more and more impressed with Drew Holiday every single day.
Yeah. Celtics look good. The Bucs look good. I'm just glad it's not going to be the Heat in all likelihood coming out of the East this year. Can't stand that fan base.
And it took a nurse to fix the doctor's problems in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and the Sixers have looked great too. The East is going to be really competitive this year.
All right, let's get back to this thing called football. Let's get into the stupid underdogs and the locks before I forget to get all those.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid underdogs. We'll update that next week on the show card. But let's see, where are my damn glasses at? All right, well, here we go. Oh, here we go. Looking at, let's see, Joey's obviously not here. So he will fall down a notch, and Tones is not here. So who's got the Bobby? You get the first pick.
Stupid underdog.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with Utah +8. It's gonna be tough for them to go out there and get a win. But Washington, they've looked like they've had a little bit of a slump. I know they haven't lost yet, but they've been competitive in games that shouldn't be competitive. So Utah, if they're playing their best game today, I think they can go into Washington and pull off the upset.
So you scoff at my Utah, and then that's the one you pick.
I scoff at what? You picking Utah to win?
Yeah.
I didn't. If I did, I'm sorry, because I think they have a good chance at winning. I don't think they're going to win. If I had to make a prediction, I think Washington gets out of there with a 3-point win, just barely edges one out. But I think Utah has a chance to pull off the upset. I think Washington, in all likelihood, is going to win, but I'd be shocked if Utah doesn't cover.
All right.
Unfortunately, I put the kiss of death on them, considering how I'm doing with stupid underdog this year. So,
whatever that word salad meant, but anyways, go ahead. Steven, you are next, sir. You're sitting at -4.
Would have been a lot better if I would have chose Navy last week or whoever played Air Force.
Yeah. Where the hell did that come from?
Like we talked about them so much on the show.
I know. I saw your text. I was like, "What is he talking about?" Look, I go, "Holy crap! Army's on them." I was glad to see that though, because I'm doing the Army Navy game in a few weeks. I was afraid I was going to be watching just nothing, and instead it's going to be 2-0s. Whatever that number is, take the under. I'm going to tell you what my lock is that day.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there. I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm giving Mississippi State +18 going into College Station. It just is like the vibes are not good out there. I mean, I keep seeing articles now about is $77 million worth the buyout with how disappointing Jimbo has been. It's that bad out there. I think Mississippi State covers, and I think they have a chance to win this game.
So you got Mississippi State.
We've been talking about that buyout for a while.
I don't know how they're going to pull that off. So you're taking Mississippi State +18.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this the other day, and I guess it escaped my memory, but they extended him recently, and that's why his buyout's so damn big. Because if they would have kept it on the original contract, they would be coming up towards the end. It wouldn't be much of a buyout at all. It's going to cost them almost $80 million to get rid of him. And then what do you have to pay the next guy?
Mm-hmm.
You better be right about him, because you got to buy him out. What the hell? Doug, what is your stupid underdog?
Take Miami. Oh, wrong game. Take UCF. I'm picking UCF.
UCF +2.5.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, screw it. I'm going to go with Ole Miss. It's 10.5 right now. I got to swing for the fence over here.
Yep.
If Tennessee wins, that would secure Georgia's spot in the SEC title game. Maybe they come in half-ass at 7:00 Eastern. Doubt they really can, because the thing is, they can lose that Ole Miss game and still win the national title.
Yeah.
But now I'm not giving it much of a chance, but I'll take it. Let me see. Let's go to the locks. Doug, you went last. Give me your lock here today.
Buck, just the over-under in the Oregon State game is 73.5. I'll take the over in that game.
Oregon State is 51.5.
Oh, sorry, it's just the way the computer was looking. Hang on.
Are you talking about Oregon? Or are you talking
Oregon? That's Oregon USC. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're saying taking the over or the under?
The over. The over. The over-under is at 73. Take the over.
76.5.
Yeah. Oh, they say 73. Oh, it says 73 here. I'm sorry, but it's at 76, and yeah.
I don't know when that newspaper was printed, but live online.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Steven, what is your lock?
When I said earlier, did I want to jinx Doug or Bobby? I really should have said, who do I want to jinx first? Give me the Cardinals plus 1.5. They're winning this game. Falcons. I'm sorry, Atlanta faithful, but the Falcons are just on a downward spiral. It has not looked much better with Heineke, and I think it's just the perfect storm for the Cardinals to get a win here.
Who's playing quarterback for the Cardinals?
Mr. Kyler Murray. He's back.
Who?
Kyler.
Never heard of him.
Who's your quarterback, Doug? You're a Raiders fan. I don't want to hear
Jimmy G, baby, let's go.
You're a Raiders fan. Come on.
No, Jimmy G was gone.
Yeah, well.
That shows over.
You'd be better off if Jim Plunkett was playing quarterback.
That's the rate we're going. He probably will be.
Bobby, what is your lock?
I'm not going to do this much during football season, but I'm picking this as my lock because I'm 100% confident in it. It's the UFC. There's a card tonight. Diego Lopez. I think he's going to beat Pat Sabatini.
A football lock. I'm not looking up UFC freaking.
You want to win
against
money?
The spread.
I'll give you a football lock. I'll just go with my stupid underdog pick. I'll double back on that if that's what you want as my lock. But if you want money, bet on Diego Lopez. I'm here to tell you how to win money.
You add something in, but as far as what we keep up with is football locks. Don't give me a
football lock.
Don't give me a futures bet on volleyball. I mean, come on, let's.
Well, go put money on it then. Do it for me at least. Diego Lopez.
Bet on some guy named Lopez?
Yes. First fight on the main card. He's a plus 100 underdog. Guaranteed.
What is the line on it?
He's plus 100 on the money line.
What is your reasonings for picking him?
Because Pat Sabatini is old. Diego Lopez is a surging prospect. In his debut fight, which was on short notice, he gave it to Movsar Evloev, who's one of the top featherweights in the world. He's undefeated.
Let me ask you something. Is this fight going to be on TV?
It's pay-per-view. It's a pay-per-view. I tell you this every single time.
The whole thing's
an undercard. It's pay-per-view.
The whole thing is?
No, the undercard. The prelims. They're not. That's on ESPN Plus.
So is he going to be on the prelim card?
No, he's on the main card.
Okay. When you say the first fight, you're talking about the first fight that's on the pay-per-view.
Yes. First fight on the main card.
How is this going down?
It's going down at 9.
I'm going to put money on Lopez.
All right.
I just need you to text me and let me know if you want or not, because I'm not buying the pay-per-view.
All right.
I'm going to put money on Lopez. I'm going to trust.
I'll send you a parlay if you want. I made a parlay. I can send you that if you want to.
No. I don't care about parlay. You're saying it's plus 100. In fact, I'm going to do it now.
Just go for it.
I got to find it.
I actually saw Diego Lopez fight in Nashville, and
my computer actually might be allergic to UFC stuff. So let me see if it'll allow me to go in.
Yeah, when I went to the fight night in Nashville, he was on that card, and he made quick work.
Diego Lopez versus Pat Sabatini.
Yep, take Diego Lopez.
That's what I'm doing. I'm getting it at minus 105. That's close enough.
I'm surprised he's moved. Is he still the underdog? Because I know Sabatini is probably like minus 110.
He's minus 105. I mean, it's right. I think
right even.
That's just on the one that I'm on. But I'm going to go ahead and take him. I won the SMU over points scored last night. They were 41.5 when I took SMU. They scored 45. So I'm going to take those winnings and I'm going to put it on something I don't know what the hell I'm betting on.
Earlier this summer when there wasn't any sports going on, other than like baseball, I guess. I did pick a UFC lock. This is the second most confident I've been in a UFC lock. The first one was Khalil Roundtree by knockout earlier this summer.
I'm not even gonna go back in and look at it. It's
you don't
done.
have to. No. I'm just saying this is the second most confident I've been in a UFC lock. The first one easily hit. So
fair enough. I'm not doubting you at all. I told you I'm taking my winnings. I'm rolling. If they lose, they lose. I'm not going to blame you for it.
Good luck, sir.
I will be blaming you for it.
I got money on it too. So if we go down, we go down together.
See, we got everyone's lock but mine, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go. Talked about this earlier, man. Give me the over under in the Florida LSU game. The over under, I'm taking the over 67.5 is where it's at right now. I just think these two teams are going to score at will on each other. And 67.5, I know that's a big number, but I told y'all earlier, I think they're going to win 45-35, and somewhere in that neighborhood gets me well over 67.5.
I do
probably more likely to tease that, to be honest with you. I'll probably grab a teaser with it. One of the teasers that I would like on that, if you grabbed, what if you took Utah up to 14.5 on a teaser and took that over under down to 61.5? That's probably what I'll end up doing.
I like that.
It's not him, but I swear to God, it looks like Jameis Winston is making picks at the Georgia Ole Miss game. I don't know who that is. I don't know if he's an actor or singer, but he's got the Jameis Winston haircut and everything. Anyways, only thing we got left to do is one big thing. What is your one big thing, Steven?
Well, what did I say before? Yep, Kentucky is going to knock off Alabama. Going to start.
That would be a big thing. The game's about to start. Doug, what is your one big thing?
One big thing, look for Luke Mayer to have a breakout game against the Jets.
Who?
I will not be looking at
Mac
that.
Magee.
I will be sleeping.
I will be. That's fine. Any Raiders fans out there, they can. I mean, I'm certainly
Maybe
not going to watch.
rephrased it. Doug, what is your one big thing people give a crap about? Okay. Bobby, what is your one big thing?
Michigan got a slap on the wrist of a punishment. I know it came at an inopportune time for them, but still a slap on the wrist. I'm going to be rooting against them for the rest of the season, so go Penn State, even though I think they're probably going to lose. But, yeah, that's my one big thing. I don't like Michigan.
My one big thing is we're going to get a Tennessee W today. And the Bulldogs go down, which means next week in Knoxville will be for the SEC champion. SEC East title will be on the line, and we'll actually get a fun game next week. Oh, and Florida State's going to hang 58 on Miami. I would say good luck to your teams, but you're wearing the wrong colors, my friend. So good luck to everyone's team except for Steven.
Go Kyler Murray. Go Kyler Murray.
Good luck.
Go whoever you said.
Kyler Murray.
You can fit all the people who care about the Jets game in the same room with the Kyler Murray fans.
Y'all have a good one. If you get a chance to make these nachos, we ate these the other night. Holy crap, are they good. How does this thing go? Here we go.
It is the third Saturday in October.
Well, let me do the right one. So I didn't hit the wrong button. Here we go. Okay, this week, Florida State, Miami, in Hassie, we're going to make Seminole Screaming Nachos. And we're starting them off by I did yellow potatoes mainly because they're a lot easier to cut. You can do whatever potatoes you want to do, but I did yellow potatoes, slice them fairly thin, and then put the Holy Grail, salt, pepper, and garlic salt over the top of them with oil. Slid them in the oven, par-cooked them, then pulled them out of the oven and put Parmesan cheese, shredded Parmesan cheese over it. We finished them off in the oven, and this is what you see right here. What you hear in the background is my baby dogs getting ready for the game. They got their game face on. All right. So these are the chips that we're going to put the nachos on, and it's going to be a chicken nacho. We got the chips, and then all I did was cook off chicken breast. You can do chicken breast. You can do chicken tenders. Does not matter. And we chopped them up. We seasoned them. Season them however you like. I did salt and pepper. We're going to stack them as so. And now it's ready for the peppers, the onions, and the peppers and onions are going to be garnet and gold just like the Florida State Seminoles. Okay, the peppers and onions, here we go. We're going to stack them. This is going to be good. So once again, you got the yellow potatoes with the Parmesan cheese kicking. You've got the peppers and onions. You've got the chicken. We're going to finish it off with a little bit of cheese and sour cream. Finished product here. You've got the chips with the Parmesan, salt, pepper, and garlic salt. You got the chicken seasoning. We did salt and pepper. Do it however you want. We added the cheese, the peppers, the onions. I went with red and yellow peppers for obvious reasons. Florida State colors. That's why they're the Screaming Seminoles. And you've got some guacamole, if you'd like, and we put sour cream on top. And there you have it, the Screaming Seminole. If anyone asked you how to make a Screaming Seminole, you tell them, let a goddamn hurricane walk in the room.